If you think your aim problems come down to just sensitivity and settings, you're wrong. Your aim in COD Mobile comes down to 15 fundamentals. And these are the 15 that separate the top 1% from everyone else. Some of these you've never heard of, like the fact that bullets in this game don't come from your gun, they come from your character's eyes. Others you think you're already doing right, but you're not. Like the slides and jumps you think are saving you that are actually getting you killed. This is the only aiming guide you'll ever need. And number 1 starts with something nobody expects. Number 1, and I'm serious with this one, your breathing is affecting your reaction time. And there's science behind it. Now, this one is a pretty brand new discovery that breathing actually has a part in how quickly you react. In high-stakes situations, reaction time is everything. Studies show that the human reaction time is not constant throughout a breath. Participants in the study show that they react 20 to 50 milliseconds faster during inhalation compared to exhalation. In practice, here's how you use this. Inhale before you peek. As you approach a corner or prepare to engage into a gunfight, take a sharp, controlled breath in. Hold it during the gunfight. This ensures your reaction time remains at its peak. Then, after the gunfight is done, exhale. Only release the breath once the threat is neutralized or you've returned to cover. This is the same concept of why snipers in real life hold their breath when they're trying to get the best line of shot. During exhalation, the body is in a relaxation phase of the autonomic nervous system, and by contrast, inhalation is linked to increased heart rate and heightened sensory processing, which sharpens your visual to trigger response. That's step 1, being physically ready. But none of that matters if your crosshair isn't in the right place before the fight even starts. Number 2, if there's one thing in this video that will improve your aim the most, it's this. Crosshair placement is a core factor in regards to having your aim be spot on. There are 2 factors, horizontal and vertical centering. Vertical first. If you find yourself looking at the ground, that is a bad habit because you need to readjust and recenter your aim, which in a game of milliseconds is crucial. Pro tip, use the map as an instrument to know if your crosshair is on level. Window frames, door frames, crates, barrels. In a map like firing range where the design is head level, use them as a visual guide. Horizontal. As you're moving around the map, you'd want your crosshair to be gluing to itself on the edge of the corner of the walls. You shouldn't be looking at where you are, but more so where your enemies might be. So now your crosshair is in the right place. But what do you do when an enemy shows up and you need to get to them fast? That's where peeking comes in. Number 3, this is the strongest form of movement in Call of Duty Mobile. And if you're not using it, the people you're playing against definitely are. Peeker's advantage is a must to be abused. Unfortunately, with the game's stick rate not being the greatest, desync has been an evident problem since the start. Utilizing sliding, as this is the fastest way to peek, is key to making it your advantage. So better make sure you practice the motion of sliding quickly and centering your aim in the midst of it, as this is essentially the strongest form of movement in Call of Duty Mobile. To do this, hug the corner of the wall, move your joystick forward, make sure your gun is on the running animation, flick to the direction where you want to slide, then quickly realign your aim to where the possible enemy will be. But even with the best peek, sometimes you're going to be slightly off target. So how do you correct fast without wasting bullets? That's what separates good aimers from great ones. Number 4, when you flick to a target, how many corrections are you making? If the answer is more than 2, your sensitivity might be off, or this tip is going to fix it for you. 2-step flicking is something that sometimes you probably don't notice you do. It's when you first do your initial flick, and the second is the adjustment to your target. That is the maximum amount of corrections you should be doing. Anything beyond that, then draw things back to looking for the perfect sensitivity. Obviously, the lesser the amount of corrections, the better, but initially there will always be circumstances where you have to readjust. That's why this is an essential tool to master, to be able to make sure you're not wasting time shooting bullets that are not on target. To practice this, go to the shooting range, start flicking on either the bots or the targets, and see how much adjustments you have to do to be on target. If you ever find yourself under or over flicking, that's your cue to revisit your sensitivity. Now that you've got the fundamentals, crosshair placement, peeking, flick correction, let's make sure you're actually warmed up before you take these into ranked. Number 5, before you do anything, warm up. And I'm going to give you a way to measure exactly where your aim stands. Warming up is a pretty subjective topic, because you have to find what works for you. Some players like long-form warm-ups and some the contrary. So let me give you both so you can test out which one works for you. To really give you a challenge, go to the practice range, spawn 3 close and 2 medium distance bots, unlimited ammo, but aim for 1000 kills and 50% accuracy. And lastly, turn on the data panel. Typically, you would run down the whole 20 minutes duration of the practice range to be able to obtain this. Now, if you want something quicker, honestly, commonly in the pro scene, just a single run of free-for-all would work. Bottom line, the most important thing is just to be able to warm up before your initial grind or sessions so you don't find yourself sluggish in the actual games. Use this criteria to know where you stand. Do note, if you don't get 1000 kills, your run is invalidated, so you know where your accuracy stands. But what if the reason you're missing isn't your aim? It's your sensitivity. Number 6. The perfect sensitivity is something a lot of people have been looking for. Here's how I find the sweet spot. The perfect sensitivity is something that has been sought after by a lot of people, not just in COD Mobile but in other titles as well. But let me show you what I do to find the sweet spot. Go to the practice range and take a look at the moving targets. Aim for the center, and if you find yourself trailing behind the target, then your sensitivity is a bit slow. Now, if you find yourself going ahead of the target, then it's a bit on the faster side. Try to adjust your sensitivity by the increments of 5 and keep doing it till you are comfortable. To add more depth, this time do it while strafing left and right, and do exactly the same drill, making sure you are alternating between the first and the second targets. Another alternative you can do is spawning in one bot and going around it while ADSing and applying the same principles. Your sensitivity is dialed in, your aim is warmed up. Now let's talk about something most players completely ignore: your ears. Number 7. You're probably only listening for footsteps, but there's way more information your game is giving you that you're not picking up on. Footsteps are one of the obvious sound cues inside of the game. But did you know you can hear as little as the pin when a nade is getting cooked, or even the rustle of a trophy system? There's a whole list of sound cues you can utilize to get crucial information on. This also gives you a general idea of the general direction, preparing your aim so you can react better. Here's clips of sound cues you can anticipate and watch out for. So now you can hear them coming. But your aim doesn't matter if your body is in the wrong place. Let's talk about where to position yourself so the enemy has to work harder to kill you. Number 8. In COD Mobile, bullets come from your character's eyes, not the barrel of the gun. And once you understand that, it changes how you position yourself on every map. So putting yourself behind either a car, crate, or anything where you can cover the bottom half of your body is how to do it. This makes it way harder for your enemy to hit you, as they are forced to go for your head. Another factor could be you not really slicing the map by sections. You should be avoiding positioning yourself in angles where you can be caught in the middle. So picture this. Imagine the corner of a wall is the center of a circle. Move around it in small slices, and check one spot at a time. This gives you more chances to isolate your enemies one by one, and not get caught in a pinch. Doing all of this will definitely increase your KDA if done correctly, as you're no longer just putting your body out there in the middle. So you know where to put your body. Now let's talk about how you're moving it. Number 9. The slides and jumps you think are saving you might actually be getting you killed. Here's why. Flashy movements might seem cool, but it could be a big factor why you'd end up being an easier target to hit. As much as the intent of oversliding and jumping is to dodge enemy bullets, it could turn into a pattern, becoming more predictable. Adding the fact as well that sliding has a fixed duration and path, a good player will just track your slide and kill you before you can stand back up. Jumping, for sure it can help, especially in close quarters fights. But you have to know that once you are in the air, you are not going to be able to change your direction, ending up like a pigeon at the shooting range. Sometimes counter-strafing, instead of longer slides, using short left to right movements could be the better way to go, keeping your foot grounded and accuracy higher. Now, when do you ever use sliding or jumping? Whenever you want to break the visuals of your opposition, sliding past an enemy's point of view to the point that their sensitivity can't keep up, especially in CQB, or having to go against an enemy on a head glitch and you'd want a bit more elevation, so you'd end up jumping. Number 10. Gyroscope over the course of time has turned to be an essential, proven by the Garena region following the 2024 COD Mobile World Championship, where Elevate was able to shock the world with an impressive 10-1 standing in the playoffs, ending off with the win, with 5 out of 5 players using gyro. Other top notable teams have tried to adapt it. But why so? Micro adjustments and recoil control. Thumbs are generally great for flicking, but when it comes to pixel by pixel adjustments, it takes a bit more work. Gyro allows you to use your wrist as if it's a second aiming finger. Recoil management. Instead of having to drag your aiming finger down, you just have to tilt your phone downwards, assuming you don't have your settings inverted, and that will counter the weapon's kick for you. Overall, you'd want to use your gyro as an assistant rather than it be just the whole thing. When you run out of aiming space real estate, you can use your phone to make up for what you're missing out on. Instead of having to move your thumbs horizontally because you're countering the recoil at the same time tracking, you can have gyro focus on the vertical recoil pattern and your thumbs on the tracking. Gyroscope helps your aim, but it won't save you if your HUD is fighting against you. Let's fix that. Number 11. Optimizing your HUD can actually say a lot about what your aiming condition can be. Initially, you'd want to have enough room for your aiming finger. If you have buttons next to your aiming finger, you might get misinputs, and that's the last thing you want to happen in a very tracking heavy game like COD Mobile. Picture this: if you got your aiming finger having to deal with the utilities, the reloading, score streaks, even aiming down, altogether it would feel too cramped up, and it would be hard to put enough allocation that is needed to have consistent aim. Number 12. Trading is a very essential and fundamental concept in team play, especially with the pacing for COD Mobile. It's very important to pick up on this. Gunfights are way easier when you do it with a teammate. Here's a rule: if your teammate dies, you should be able to avenge him within 2 seconds. Don't just hide when your teammate is taking a fight. Position yourself in a place where you and him don't get collided, but at the same time quick enough to react to get involved for the trade. Up next is bait and switch. The idea of this is that there will be a player taking point. What he does is lead the push and slide aggressively to draw the attention and force the enemy to flick. They don't need to necessarily get the kill, they just need to survive. And what comes next is the switch, or the support player. What he does is stay back and beam the enemy while they are distracted by the point man. Lastly, high-low peeking. When holding down a corridor or a tight spot, have one player prone or crouch down and the other stand up. This makes it so if an enemy challenges, they have to choose which player to deal with. And since both of your crosshairs are aiming at one direction, this on paper doubles your health pool and halves your time to kill. Number 13. Sometimes due to the pacing of the game, you just have to go for it with zero hesitation. If the team or a player takes point already for a push, you'd have to be on par with their pace, because come again you'd want to be involved with the trades, challenges, and just overall providing the better numbers in the situation. Many players hesitate because they always try to look for the perfect time, or just overall get intimidated because of the fear of failing. But don't mistake this from the next one. Number 14. Eco-challenge is when a player chooses to confront an enemy rather than retreating. Factors like health, positioning, and weapon matchups are important variables that lie underneath it. While it can be risky, it could be strategically used to catch overconfident opponents off guard too. If an enemy has tagged you and expects you to run and heal, they might chase after you. So getting the timing and returning back instead of waiting to fully heal could catch them off guard. Going back immediately could also give you an easier time to kill them, especially if they are running towards you, as they could be in the sprint to fire animation with their guns down. They'll have less time to react quickly than you. Now, when do you not ego chow? When a sniper is set and is already holding an angle, you are not going to be able to out-aim a one-shot kill. Or if you don't have any cover, no terrain advantage, ego challenge is just going to be senseless to do. Number 15. This is the most single important tip in this entire video, and it's the one most players will never do. Shockingly, as simple as it seems, watching replays is a very effective tool you can use to know what you're doing wrong. From your crosshair placements, positioning, movement, even decision making. Doing this in games where you feel like you went terrible is a really good practice. In a professional setup, this is called a VOD review, and this is practiced daily by the best out of the best of the competition. Now, if you don't know, not so long ago, COD Mobile added the replay feature. Go to the settings menu, use the search bar at the top right, and look for match replay and enable it. Now run your usual games, and after you find one that you want to review, go to the main lobby, click on your profile on the top left, click on history, choose which match you want to review, and at the bottom right, click on replay. While you're at it, once again, review. Is your crosshair placement too high? Are you over pushing? Are there any power positions you could have held on to? Are you moving around too much to the point your crosshair placement is way off? Or just overall, not having the best of decisions? Your aim is dialed in. But there are 20 things about this game that have nothing to do with aim, and every single one of them will give you an edge. From an attachment that gives you a literal instant kill, to a setting that changes how aim assist works, to a way to manipulate where you spawn. If you want the full video, it's right here.